We are going to make this rock and beach scene in watercolors. It is going to be very simplified and I will explain all the details as we go. Hi friends, I am Vanidas Mangathil and let us learn watercolors together. I am using a cold pressed watercolor paper around 300 GSM, 100% cotton. Okay, I am wetting the paper almost top 60% of it or 50 to 60% of it, so that I want to get some tiny wet on wet sky, very little, very tiny bit of blue colors I am going to touch, just making some touches here and there, very tiny bit. Okay, and since the paper is kept at an angle, it is flowing down. Okay, and little bit of warm color raw sienna, so that it looks there is little bit of a warmth in the sky. Okay, now removing accumulated colors from the paper, and now let us make little bit of greenish blue. I am mixing cerulean blue and touch of sap green, so that it looks like a greenish blue color, and I want to use this for the sea, little bit of water that we will be seeing on the beach. Okay, little bit, on very tiny bit. Okay, and I'm leaving some white spaces slightly at an angle, because that is the angle of the waves. Okay, the the waves are suggested by leaving some little bit of tiny white spaces. Okay, now this little bit of land, now mostly it is burnt sienna. Okay, and maybe a touch of raw sienna, maybe a touch of orange also, uh, just very pale wash. Okay, and let us leave some white edges for the waves around the white portion of the waves. Okay, and that is sufficient, I think. We don't need too much of details. It's a very simplified form. Okay, so we are not going to give any details. I'm mixing some violet and burnt sienna to make some darker show. Okay, so I wanted to make some shadowish kind of a tone, and some portion of the areas, some area where the waves meet the shore, I'm making it slightly purplish, kind of a bluish purplish color, so that it looks like a little bit of wet land. Okay, that is the idea. I think the shore portion is now done. I am mixing little bit of orange and little bit of burnt sienna, and let us make some big rock. Okay, so this is just an idea. Okay, this painting is not from reference. This is just from an idea. Okay, so whether this kind of a rock is possible in reality is something that I'm not sure, but we as an artist can always imagine, even if it is not practically possible. Okay, so let us now add some violet. Okay, some violet and burnt sienna, and for these dark shadows I'm also using little bit of Payne's gray. So it is little bit of Payne's gray, burnt sienna, and sometimes a little bit of violet. Okay, so now I wanted slightly darker tones, and as the rock, the base of the rock comes, it will be darker and darker. That is the idea, and even more darker at the base of it. Okay, where it connects to the ground. Okay, I think it is little too much darker. We may have to lift out some of these darks. Let us see. See, watercolor dries lighter. When it dries, you will find that the tones are turned lighter. So it is sometimes it is okay to make strong tones, because once it dries, it might turn lighter. Okay, I think yes, some white forms where the water meets the rocks, and I think that is enough for the rocks. Okay, maybe some little bit of a tiny touch here. Okay, see, I am using a mop brush. That is a synthetic squirrel imitation mop brush, and the brand that I am using is an Indian brand called Stationery. You can use any mop brush. Okay, so you can use it. I mean, you don't have to specifically use the brands that I use. I'm splashing some water so that it creates some textures, okay, on this rock, as well as some textures on the shore. Okay, that area, this area, it is little too much dark, so I'm lifting out some of these darker tones there. Okay, because the rocks cannot come that much down. Right, I think it is overall making sense, and I am making it dry using a hair dryer, because now we are going to add details. For the details, we want sharper edges, so the paper should be dry. Now I am using some dark tones, mainly Payne's grey, okay, and suggesting some boats. Maybe we will have another boat behind this, partially behind this. Okay, so it is, yeah, we can do something like this to suggest another boat. See, having multiple boats like this can improve the overall sense of depth, distance. Okay, little bit of shadows maybe for the boat. Yeah, I think it is making sense now. Now we need maybe another boat, so I am adding little bit of cerulean blue, and I have used a touch of white to make it little opaque. Okay, because we haven't left any white space for the boat, so it should be little opaque. So to make it little opaque, I have added tiny bit of white to cerulean blue. And now let us make another big boat. Okay, this seems to be spreading. I think we need to dry this portion. Okay, so let us quickly dry this area. The paper was still wet, so I want sharp edges for the boat. So let us make another boat, maybe this time darkish red color maybe. So I am using Vermillion red, and the brush already contains a little bit of dark tones, so it will be some darker red sort of a color. Okay, and just the overall shape of the boat, not precise boats. Okay, and since this boat is much nearby, it is slightly bigger in shape. Okay, and the bottom area of the boat will be darker, so I am using Payne's grey to make it darker, so that it looks overall, it looks three-dimensional, and it have a sense of volume. Okay, I think that's it. This boat looks okay. See, it is not the perfect boat, but it is having a good feel. I mean, it is a simplified boat. Okay, now let us make probably some reflection, because see, this area is supposed to be slightly wet land, and it will have some reflection. So the reflection will begin with dark tones, and then it will have the reddish color, which is the color of the boat. Okay, so now I'm adding, initially I have added the Payne's grey, and now I'm adding a little bit of Vermilion red, and I'm just smudging it, bringing it below. Okay, so that it looks like a reflection. Okay, I think it is reasonably good. The same approach for the other boat, where first I am adding some Payne's grey for the dark of the boat, and same Payne's grey for the beginning of the reflection. Okay, and then I will be adding the blue color and then smudging. Okay, simple technique. Okay, maybe little bit of more color and then smudge. Okay, it is not a perfect reflection, but it is having a good illusion of a reflection, and that area I will give a little bit of reflection maybe, and I'm not going to give reflection for the last boat, because it is almost in the dry shore. Okay, I think we are pretty good done with the reflection of the boat. Okay, now let us add some details to the top plane of the boat, maybe some minor details. Okay, and we need to actually give some more details. We have to make these boats a little bit more interesting. Okay, so we may add little bit more additional details, some tiny bit of suggestion for the top plane of the blue boat. The other boats are far away, we don't need to suggest the top plane. Now let us make some darker tone and take a liner brush. The darker tone is made by Payne's grey and little bit of burnt sienna, thicker consistency paint, and let us make a vertical line, some poles, okay, maybe. So I don't know really what is the purpose of this, okay. For now it is just a visual element to create some interest, okay. So this looks little bent, so let us make it straight, okay. Let us make it little wider and straight, okay. Right, I think that's it. Maybe these are something to anchor the board, okay, I don't know. Now let us add some vertical lines for the other boards also, something around the other boards. Okay, that is okay, reasonable. Everything makes sense now. Please let me know what you think. Do you think it is making sense? The reflection, the placement of the pole, and the boards, etc. If you think it is convincing, please do let me know. Or if you have any other suggestion of how it would have been better, any suggestion if you have, please do let me know. I'll be happy to evaluate that and then apply those for the future tutorials. Okay, some white highlights. So this is white watercolors directly picked from the tube, okay, and I am using a liner brush, okay, for this. This is just to bring out those shapes, to get some more contrast to those simple elements, okay. This black board doesn't look good, so I'm adding little red color to that to make it little different from the last board, okay. Now let us add some figure. I am using some lilac color, which is little like a pastel color, or it is little opaque. So let us add a figure. So when you add figures, you should be aware of the overall figure proportion and the size of the figure in relation to the board. Those things you have to consider, okay. So I have made the upper body, and the rest of the figure I will be adding later. Let us make the upper bodies of figures for other figures also, the torso of other figures. So let us make that color I don't like. Let us make it darker, okay. Mainly Payne's grey color, okay. So the torso, upper body, and without head. So I will be adding the head and the legs, etc. later, okay. So first I am suggesting the upper body, and then maybe some more definition for this, some more foreign figures, okay. So these are just some suggestions. So when you make these figures, you should be aware of the overall perspective, overall size, proportion, etc. and then only it will be convincing, okay. So let this figure be little bigger figure, okay, little bigger, and let us now add some head and the legs also, okay. These are dry brushworks, thicker consistency paint, and just some suggestion, okay, just suggestion, not precise, not with much details, okay. And here the overall movement of the body is important, okay. So you should be considering the overall body posture, body movement, and the proportions, etc. when you make the figures. If you think this this video is informative to you, you are finding it helpful, please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done, and please do press the bell notification so that you get notified for all my future videos, okay. Now if you have any suggestions, comments, feedback, questions, please write them in the comment box below. I'll be more than happy to get back with my answers as early as possible. Now similar to the reflection of the board we have made, same technique we are going to apply for the reflection of the figures, okay. And little bit of suggestions and some smudging, okay. So I think this is fair enough. maybe little dark touches at the around the hip area, maybe here little dark touches, then it is fine. Okay, that is fine. Now let us add some more reflection. Maybe the pole, the vertical line will have a little bit of a reflection here, and the slant line also will have a reflection. So let us make a reflection for this also. Right, this is reasonably okay. Now what else? Maybe some reflection for this area. This portion is also a wetland, so okay, so we need some reflection. Maybe some reflection is required for the figures also. Let us also add the reflection for the figure near the blue boat, but before that I am suggesting some shadows. Okay, so here I am not suggesting reflection because this area is already dry. The big, where we have the big figure, that portion is already dry, and the dry area may just have some shadows, not too much of reflections. Only wet portion of the land will be having reflection. Some opaque orange color directly picked from the tube for the face and arms, leg, etc. if they are exposed. Okay, the exposed body skin tone basically. I think we are pretty much done to declaring it as done, closed. Just some final touches, final highlights, some orange skin tones for the figures. Okay, and while suggesting these skin tones, you should be very careful because these are very tiny touches, and you should make the touch at the right place and the right quantity, right amount. You don't overdo that. Okay, right, now some reflection. Maybe I am making the leg as orange, and let us merge it. Let us suggest some reflection, and I think we are done. We don't have to make it very precise. I am pretty happy with whatever we have on the paper now. Little bit of white highlights for the top of the elements, and maybe wherever the sunlight may hit, some highlights. Okay, this again is white watercolor picked up directly from the tube, and here the top of the head and the top of the shoulders, and this should be done very carefully. Okay, we don't overdo this. It is very easy to overdo and spoil this. Okay, so it has to be done, this has to be done with a lot of care. Okay, I think this is the last bit of touch, and we will close it. Okay, fine. I think we are done with all the details. We don't want to do much more. Maybe slight suggestion of some shallow waves near the land. Okay, some ripples sort of thing. Okay, not big waves, some shallow moments, shallow forms, etc. And once this is done, we will probably call it as done. That's it. We can call it as done. Okay, we are done. Okay, so I think I'm just evaluating, should we do anything more? Maybe a little bit of sparkles, splashes of that violetish, brownish kind of a color to make that area a little engaged, the bottom right. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope this video was informative to you. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please do write them into the comment box below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe and press the bell notification. And please do share this video to your artist friends who can take benefit out of this. So thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll soon see you with another interesting tutorial.